I feel like Jermaine Cole eating a humble burger at Humble Donald's. No cheese, no lettuce, no tomato. SH Figuarts nail. This is hopefully, and seeming to be, the last release for the Namek saga for a long while now, right? We were stuck in that era where it's like, okay, we're just gonna get every single Namek saga figure out there. We're getting fucking full power Zarbon, old battle close Vegeta, so on and so forth, and everything like that, right? Also with this, the supervisor for the figure releases for the Dragon Ball SH Figuarts line is also changing as well. So with this in mind, it just leaves the question, what is next? Because before, it was pretty easy to guess what's coming. Daima figures and a continuation of the Namek saga, right? Even I predicted the next Z line figure that will be announced will be Nail, and I was of course correct. Now that we're done with the Namek saga, what path will Tamashii take? You may not know, but there is a few. There's a good few. So for this video, we're just gonna ignore the Daima line, right? Because that's already going, that's happening in the background, right? We already seen all the prototypes and stuff. Whatever happens with that, that happens, right? Right now we're focused with literally every other series within Dragon Ball. So the first path that Tamashii has, that I feel like everyone's kind of expecting, right, is you did the Namek saga, so it only makes sense to go move on to the Cell saga. So with the Cell saga, I feel like the first release for a Cell saga figure, I'm predicting it right now. I will put money on this, okay? I'm saying that it will be Future Gohan and Future Trunks. Okay, Teen Trunks, of course. Now, I don't really have a reason why I'm saying this, right? I just feel like it's about time we've got a Future Gohan figure. We've seen no Future Gohan figure in the line before, so it would be a completely new release, probably new tooling everywhere, right? Your quote-unquote 3.0. And I feel like this just makes sense. And I put these two together, Teen Gohan and Future Trunks, because they're like a package deal. And I feel like they won't do a Teen Trunks without doing a Future Gohan. And almost vice versa, but I feel like Future Gohan would be okay as a single release. But what they could do with this figure, I feel like you can get away with charging much more for this figure if you include Teen Trunks as well. Like, this might be getting into crazy territory, but if they do a 2-pack with Gohan and Teen Trunks, I would not be surprised. Of course, Teen Trunks wouldn't come with too much, because honestly, he doesn't do much. I mean, with Future Gohan, right, you give him all the necessities, a Ki Blast hand, a fighting stance hand, all of that stuff, right? But with Teen Trunks, it's like, he doesn't really do all of that. So I wouldn't mind if he just came with maybe 2 faceplates and then 2 interchangeable hands. So I feel like a 2-pack could really work. Think of it a la Tien and Chaozu, or the newly released Shanks and Luffy, even though that Luffy's not really a figure, it's more of a statue, but you see where I'm going with this. If they make it more expensive and be like, oh, okay, we put another figure in here, I don't see why that can't happen. So yeah, I predict that Future Gohan at least, maybe not the 2-pack, but Future Gohan at least will be the first new Cell Saga figure we get. And like I said, there's only one path of many they could take, but going on to this path of the Cell Saga continuing, we have Semi-Perfect Cell. This would just be a great figure to have, a new figure. We don't have a Semi-Perfect Cell in the line at all yet. In Perfect Cell, they did that, and Perfect Cell, they've done before a few times with recolors. So I feel like that honestly has less of a chance to get a new figure simply because of the fact we already have a Perfect Cell figure. Of course, we'll eventually get an updated version of him. It's just, if they're going to do a new Cell, they would probably do Semi-Perfect Cell. It just makes sense. And going on, we have a Super Vegeta. Now, Super Vegeta would actually, I think would be a really, really fun figure. And people have been wanting this for a while. We don't have any super figures, like the grade 2, grade 3. We don't have anything like that. I doubt we're going to get any grade 3 figures because Trunks used it and got washed, and then Goku used it for literally 2 seconds. So I doubt they're rushing to do that. But grade 2 will definitely happen. And if it was going to happen, they're not doing a grade 2 Trunks, they're not doing a grade 2 Goku, they're going to do a grade 2 Vegeta. And yeah, of course, for this Cell Saga, you can't have the Cell Saga without Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Now, not too long ago, they had the fighter who surpassed Goku Gohan, which was Super Saiyan 1 only. It just came with the Super Saiyan 1 head sculpts, but it was a completely new mold. It's a great figure, amazing figure. And all they have to do with this one is add a little battle damage, give him new faceplates and new head sculpt, and then there you go. There's your Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Perfect. But the thing with this one, they could theoretically do 2 different designs, and it's a toss-up between which one they would pick, right? So you see here we have Gohan, where there's battle damage, his clothes are tattered, right? But they're not too bad, okay? The father-son Kamehameha, where his gi is torn, right? Completely. Like the previous Super Saiyan 2 Gohan we have. That's also another option they could take. But I kind of would prefer it to be this look because we haven't had this before in figure form for SH Figuarts. But we've had the torn gi version, I want to say twice before. I could be wrong on that. So yeah, this would be an easy ballpark straight smash hit, right? And he's also a popular character too, so he would sell. Now, this is just Z, correct? But don't forget, because they're still doing a few on the side, they also have GT. And what do I think the next releases would be for GT? Obviously, Omega Shenron. He's the final boss of GT, basically. It only makes sense to have him, right? And we'll talk about another figure later that would pair really well with this. It only makes sense to have those two come out near the same time. And also, I would say you could easily replace this with Super Baby 2 as well, because that's also like we already have a Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and Super Saiyan 4 Goku's opponent is Super Baby 2. So it only makes sense. I doubt we're gonna get a Great Ape Super Baby 2. We don't need that. Trust me, we don't. I don't care. I already don't like GT enough, and I definitely don't like it enough to have a giant fucking hulking super great baby ape Vegeta. Like I don't care, whatever. But yeah, like I said, this is GT in the background, right? I feel like they're still gonna be releasing, because they'll just randomly announce a GT release. They'll be like, oh, here you go, here's Trunks, here's Pan, you know, just out of nowhere. That's kind of how it felt like. So this will be going on alongside the Z line. Now, like I mentioned before, you would assume that, oh, they did almost everyone from the Namek saga. It only makes sense they do that for the Cell saga as well. And then after the Cell saga, the Buu saga. But like I mentioned before, the SH Figuarts line for Dragon Ball is getting a new supervisor. I'm pretty sure that is the case. And with that will be a change in releases. And I feel like the easiest path, the most profitable path you can take with choosing what figures to release would be the most popular characters, the best sellers in anything. And we're going to start off with another Z movie villain, Janemba. So far we only have 2 Z movie villains if you count Cooler as one person, because we have 2 Cooler releases. Janemba is by far one of the most popular Z movie villains, because it's Janemba. Who's not buying Janemba, right? And with GT being alongside the Z line, it only makes sense to do Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Also an insanely popular character, but also goes with the GT releases. I just think it would make sense if just out of nowhere they were like, hey, you know what? Boom, take this. Pre-orders open, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And going on with popularity, Z Broly, we just got the reissue, the 10th anniversary reissue for Broly, Z Broly. But who's saying that we can't get a new base Broly or suppressed Super Saiyan Broly? They definitely won't jump the shark just going, oh, hey, you know what? Let's make another legendary Super Saiyan Broly. I feel like they're gonna do base and at least suppress Super Saiyan first. It just makes sense. I think it just makes sense, because we already have the statistics, right? That 10th anniversary reissue of Broly sold so much that they're already doing a second run of pre-orders. So there'll be another batch on top of the first batch that they already released, because of how much it is selling and how high the demand is for it, even though it is a 10-year-old figure, right? So imagine they put this into a new figure. They're like, hey, here you go with the most latest and greatest technologies. Boom, you have a base Broly and a suppressed Super Saiyan Broly. And these are just figures we need too, because we don't have a base Broly or a suppressed Super Saiyan Broly. We have a Z Broly, so it makes sense if they take time doing that again. But here, we don't have these figures. And last, for our popularity route, we have Kid Buu. Now, the Buu saga is really, really weird, right? Because if you go and look at the Buu saga releases, we only have like 10 in total, and half of them were 1.0 figures from fucking 2010. So it's just, I guess it's not a priority, and it hasn't been for a long time, because we don't really have that many Buu Saga figures. Just take a look at how many Cell Saga figures are released compared to the amount of Buu Saga figures released. It's ridiculous. But Kid Buu is a very popular character as well. He's almost seen as the final boss of Z as a whole. He is the final villain of Z, so it would make sense to have him. Even if they're not going full throttle with the Buu Saga, you have got to have Kid Buu. A part of me really wants to be like, oh, you know, they should do Buu tanks as well. They should do Buuhan. But obviously those two are not as popular as Kid Buu. And like I said, we're on the popularity route. Who's gonna win? It would be Kid Buu. And now, another line, which is almost like, I don't want to say forgotten, but it's been a while since we got a new figure in this line, right? Well, not a new figure, I should say. A new character in this line. Because not too long ago, we had the Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. So as you can guess, I'm referring to Dragon Ball Super. What characters are we missing from Dragon Ball Super? They could also just start going back into the Super line, because it feels like it's been a while since we got, you know, Super figures. And I think it only makes sense to start with the Universe 6 Saiyans. All Caulifla, Kale, and Cabba. Now, if I were to choose one personally, I would really love to have a Kale figure. But I feel like popularity-wise, I think Caulifla would be the best for that. But I don't know, Cabba might be up there as well because of, you know, it's kind of a joke at this point. It's whatever. And we already have a character like Hit, right? I would have probably put him on this list if he didn't already exist. But yeah, it would make sense to have the Universe 6 Saiyans to go alongside a Hit. And also with the Tournament of Power, we have figures like Ultra Instinct Goku and Full Power Jiren. So why not have Toppo? Not the most popular character in the world, but few Toppo releases with his base form and then got a destruction form. Why not? Go ahead. It shouldn't be too hard. Like I could just imagine like a nice like cut in his fat belly for ab crunch that barely works because he's so fucking fat. For the general audience, the Tournament of Power is the last we've seen of Dragon Ball Super. In their minds, the Moro arc doesn't exist, the Granola arc doesn't exist, so this is the finale. And Tamashi can't make any manga figures because that's a whole separate issue. So I feel like it only makes sense to be like, yep, let's go back to the Tournament of Power and let's get out a few figures for people's displays because it just only makes sense. And that was the third route. The Super route. I think it's really funny that I'm referring to these as routes as if they have to take place separately, but they really don't. All of this stuff could happen at once. They could, if they really wanted to, they could push out the Cell Saga stuff, they could push out the Super stuff right beside it, and go ahead and drop popular characters out of nowhere. There's no reason why they can't. It's Dragon Ball, it's a super giant IP. It's gonna sell regardless. But I mentioned that because I want to get back into the OG Dragon Ball line. Because it's been a long time since we had a figure. I'd say, I'm pretty sure the last release we got from OG Dragon Ball that was not a reissue or anything like that was launched in 2021. That's 4 years ago now. And hey, for the front runner to bring back OG Dragon Ball, Desert Bandit Yamcha. Desert Bandit Yamcha is just indicative of OG Dragon Ball. He represents it greatly, and there's a reason why this is a costume he has in Sparking Zero, even though that game barely has any customization. It's because it is iconic and represents OG Dragon Ball as a whole, and I think this would just be great to have. And also, I just want a new long hair Yamcha. The Cell Saga Yamcha they released, okay, whatever. We all know Yamcha's better with long hair. So yeah, this would be really nice to have. Maybe come with a Poir accessory too. I don't see why not. So I won't even put this on its own path or anything because OG Dragon Ball will be like stuck onto the side of whatever's happening. I mentioned how Dragon Ball, you know, is a popular series. I really mean that for Z and Super. The other ones, okay, all right, those could do with or without. But trust me, I would want a ton more figures from the original Dragon Ball line. There's a ton of great things they could do. Like especially, I would love to see a whole array of 23rd Tenkaichi characters. Goku, Tien, Chi-Chi. So yeah, no, that was just a quick little discussion video. I wanted to, I guess, let it be known, right, that this line is really not set in stone. It could go anywhere. There's no predetermined path. Don't be surprised if the next figure we see isn't from the Cell Saga and is something completely out of nowhere, because I guarantee you that it is exactly what is going to happen. One fucking last thing. It would be Blue Shirt Awakening Goku, 3.0 tooling and given a Super Saiyan head that is accurate to the anime, accurate to the manga, even more so than Legendary Super Saiyan is, and to have the side eye and gritted teeth. We have so many Super Saiyan Goku figures, not a single one comes with the iconic side eye gritting teeth. I don't know how we've gone this long without this faceplate. And as you can see, that even this design is different enough to warrant a new figure. The pants aren't as tattered, and like, of course, the blue shirt gear is not destroyed. So I think this would honestly be a worthwhile figure, and if this shit dropped, I feel like a lot of people would be mad, but me personally, I would love this release. Yeah, no, that's definitely it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want you to tell me two things, right? I want you to tell me what figure you want to see and what figure you predict will come next. Like I said, I'm thinking it's future Gohan and maybe Teen Trunks as well. Putting money on it right here, baby. Right here. If I'm wrong, I'll sell my whole collection. All right, I don't know about all that, but you know what I'm getting. That's it. Hold on, I gotta plug shit. Zan Gaming Discord. Talk about figure arts. Show off your figures in the channels. Boom. Talk to people about figure arts or anything else, gaming, whatever. Blah blah blah. I have memberships for $1 if you want to support the channel. Go ahead, do that. And then also follow the Instagram if you want to see SH Figure Arts posing, stuff like that. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm done. Bye.